Ever wonder what scientists are doing in the middle of the Arctic Ocean? We're on the CCGS Amundsen. Let's go find out. Hey everyone, I'm Zach. I'm a marine scientist from Canada, and I just wanted to document my next scientific adventure. Ever since I was young, I really wanted to combine my passion for filmmaking with my passion for marine biology and marine science.
Zach, who's graduating this year, plans to use the $3,000 in scholarships he's won through the contest to go on to study marine biology, which he plans to marry with his passion for filmmaking.
Sort of like Jacques Cousteau. Here in St. John's, that's kind of where it all started. I began my master's in geography at Memorial University. It's a boat honking at me. Focused on studying habitats on the seafloor. And so I was able to use drop cameras and show people what the seafloor looked like in areas that have never been seen before, up in northern Labrador in Nunatsiavut. And so that brings me here on my next adventure. I will be boarding the CCGS Amundsen research vessel, which takes me to the Arctic Circle. And it's found here on the back of the $50 bill. And my next adventure starts there. On board, I'm going to be one of the communications coordinators, where I'll be filming all the scientific activity and hopefully contributing to a CBC documentary that will be put out soon. I don't know what exactly to make of this, but I figured I'd document my adventure anyways. So yeah, follow along and cheers.
A thick blanket of fog has rolled in over the northern coast of Labrador, grounding flights and leaving passengers across the region stuck in limbo.
Yes, a familiar sight. Me stuck in a hotel room in Goose Bay. So here my flight was canceled. I was not calm, I was not patient, and I was dramatically spiraling over the thought of missing the chance to get on the boat. But I'm basically speeding through this because I look super sad and depressed, and I kind of maybe overacted just a little bit. Hey everyone, Zach here. So we are now at a different hotel because we tried again yesterday and the flights were canceled once again. So we have our last shot at getting to Nain tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. And if we don't make it, then the boat moves on without us. So yeah, if I'm not there, if I'm not on that boat, then this documentary doesn't come out. So anyway, wish me the best of luck, and hopefully I see you tomorrow on the boat. Cheers. We made it on board the Amundsen research vessel, just barely, like 30 minutes later, and the helicopter wouldn't have taken us over. So I'm really glad that we made it. And now I get to show you all the scientific activities on board. So yeah, this is my cabin. I'm at the top bunk right there. And this is what life on board is like as a researcher and as a scientist. So those of you that are looking to become a scientist later in life, hopefully this documentary will help you, show you what is possible and what you could be doing with your life if you decide to go down that road. It's a pretty interesting life, and there's a lot of really cool people on board, so I'm excited to share that with you guys. Thanks, and I'm glad I made it. Cheers.
Every shift on the Amundsen followed a packed schedule. We had water sampling, coring for mud full of worms, net tows, ROV dives, moorings, multi-beam mapping, and wildlife surveys. The shifts weren't the same every time, but most of the shifts had all of these sprinkled in between. And these shifts would run throughout the day and the night. Here's the approximate track of our journey, with research stations scattered along the way where we stopped to sample and explore. Let's talk about coring, because scientists love mud. Seriously, they go to incredible lengths to collect it from the bottom of the sea, and for good reason. It helps us model climate change, revealing past climate conditions locked away in layers of sediment. It tells us about nutrient content and productivity, the movement of icebergs, and so much more. And if you close your eyes and point to a random spot in the ocean, odds are you're going to point at a muddy habitat. Sometimes when you sample in an area that shouldn't have mud, you end up pulling a lot of mud.
Allez-y, madame! Poussez! Poussez! Poussez, madame! C'est un garçon!
For scientists like Haley Geezer, this is perfect. Mud is a gold mine of information about our planet.
Yes, these are sediment cores that we collected from the box core a couple days ago.
Yep.
And we capped them and basically watched the oxygen decrease over time. So organisms like microbes and macrofauna, you can see there's two vermin here. They're using oxygen and producing carbon dioxide. And so I guess in terms of my bigger project, I'm looking at how the ocean stores carbon, specifically the North Atlantic. So we're capping it, seeing how fast oxygen's being depleted, how fast carbon dioxide is being produced, and that keeps that calculation. We also look at nutrients too. So in organic matter, like sinking phytoplankton kind of decay at the seafloor, microbes break it down and produce carbon dioxide, but also nutrients. And so in capping this, we can extract water, this syringes here, and analyze that later on. And over time, you can see the nutrients from the sediment either going into the water or vice versa.
Haley's work is just one example of how scientists use mud to study the ocean. Every time we bring up a core sample, it's all hands on deck. Researchers from different fields jump in to collect what they need, whether it's studying climate history, deep sea biodiversity, or even microbial life. It's a team effort, and every sample holds something valuable for someone. But mud isn't the only thing we're pulling up from the deep. While Haley studies how carbon is buried and stored on the ocean floor, other scientists are focused on what's swimming just above it.
Une petite morue et un petit poisson escargot.
Every shift, we deployed nets to sample everything from tiny plankton to larger fish and invertebrates.
Each net we fixed it with formalin, and then after that in the lab she's counting every species, and so then we have a table where they're counting different species, and we can do community analysis. And it's fun because usually things are done by station. We compare two stations together or several stations, but here we can compare depth strata together. So it's an additional ecological information.
As Laure said, to understand community patterns, or even how species are distributed by depth, you first need to know what's living there. And that's where species identification comes in.
That's a pictogonid. That's a sea spider. Good find. Nice, Camille.
Camille focuses on benthic invertebrates, animals living on or in the seafloor.
Mais là, il y a deux espèces d'Ophiora. Et un des critères qui permet de les séparer, c'est cette zone-là. Là. Dans un cas, ça va être plus long que large. Et dans l'autre, ici, par exemple, pour cette espèce, ça va être plus large que haut. Et si je regarde là, en fait, c'est ce qu'on voit ici, là. Bah, c'est plus long que large. Donc, je partirais plutôt sur Ophiora sars, cette espèce. Elle est belle, hein?
While Ashley is identifying the fish and pelagic organisms we brought up.
But yeah, the Arctic is not super well studied, so we're looking at trying to figure out the biodiversity in the area. So my team, we measure the weight and length and height of all these fish, and we give them an ID and they go into our database, and then many different people can use the data. Sometimes they look at like stomach content analysis, or they do all sorts of things with it. So here we have our catch from the IKMT. We have Barracuda. It's a really cool catch.
So these are all deep sea fish?
Yes, deep sea fish in the Arctic. So this was a pelagic trawl, so we went to about 470 meters.
Nice.
And here we have a dragonfish.
Oh, wow.
So this is a really cool catch. We've never seen one so intact. And they have photophores along their body. And these are myctophids. So these are highly abundant within the Arctic. They're the lanternfish, and they also use photophores. They're very delicate, so they get pretty broke up in our catch. And this here is a redfish. They have very bulging eyes
Cool.
when they come up out of the deep sea, the pressure. This is a younger specimen. And here we have some helmet jellies.
Helmet jellies, oh wow.
Yeah.
Hey.
This one kind of looks like a hat.
Hey everyone. Just doing a little update. One thing I needed to update you guys on was that COVID is kind of run wild here on the boat. Quite a few people ended up getting it, so everybody, all the regulations changed, so we have to wear masks when we're inside. So yes, the virus is still around, believe it or not. And what else? Yeah. Alright, until next time.
While physically sampling the seabed is essential for species identification and biodiversity studies, there's another approach that, if you ask me, is even better. Video and photo technology let us explore the deep in a less invasive way, capturing incredible footage of life on the seafloor without disturbing entire habitats. We can target specific organisms without the need for trawls or bycatch.
Which box are we on?
Maybe E.
And yeah, I'm biased because this was hands down my favorite part of being on the boat. Getting to sit in the ROV room, watching live footage from the ocean depths, seeing places that few people ever get to see. It's what makes me love this work. I even got the chance to be a benthic photographer, capturing images of key organisms the lead scientists wanted to document. Watch here how the ROV pilot carefully twists off a single branch of this coral, like taking a limb from a tree, without damaging the whole organism.
Nice. The skeletons are really strong. Well done. Well done. Job, Luke.
You have to hand it to these pilots. It's not an easy job. They're operating robotic arms in deep-sea currents, often with poor visibility, and with all eyes on them to make sure every move is perfect. After hours of exploring the deep, the ROV makes its way back to the surface, carrying a tray full of carefully collected samples. On the ship's deck, the team wastes no time. When the tray opens, researchers gather around, eager to see what's been brought up from the depths.
Look at that little basket star on that Paracortia. Barbara would be so happy.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, yes.
Each sample is placed into a bucket and brought to the lab for further identification. This research will contribute to deep-sea biodiversity studies and helping us understand which species are thriving in these remote areas.
All things considered, they don't look too stressed for the fact that they were plucked and moved.
600 meters deep and now above. Yeah.
And sometimes we find new creatures and creatures we've never seen this far north, expanding our knowledge of species ranges and how life in the deep is shifting with our changing oceans.
So it's midnight right now, and it's pretty bright out, as you can see. And there's a ton of icebergs around, which is really neat. So I'm going to show you guys that. See if we can get one in the back here. There it is. This big one way back there. I think one of my favorite parts about being at sea is coming out at night and just looking at the vast stretches of water. It just seems like it never ends. And it's just crazy because there's just so much we haven't explored yet. And yeah, like here, I'll just show you my view. If I can switch the camera here. One sec.
And to understand the ocean, you don't just study what's in it. You also have to study the water itself. This instrument is called a CTD, short for conductivity, temperature, and depth. It's the backbone of oceanographic research, helping scientists understand the physical and chemical properties of seawater. Each cast collects water from different depths, helping us understand the ocean's chemistry, its nutrient cycles, and even what organisms are living in it, without even needing to see them.
So what is it that you're doing exactly right now?
I'm collecting the water to be filtered for eDNA.
Cool.
So we're collecting 5 liters for each of 3 replicants.
Kathleen, a scientist from Fisheries and Oceans Canada, was using these samples for eDNA analyses, tracing the genetic fingerprints of marine life hidden beneath the surface.
All animals shed their DNA into their environment, so me included. My hair is probably on the floor here. That's all has DNA in it that you can trace back to the type of species. It kind of works as a barcode, so every species of animal has very unique DNA that you can trace it to. So when you filter the water, which has tons of DNA from all the ocean organisms, plants and animals, all the way from a whale to a jellyfish to a plankton, it'll all get put onto this filter, and then you can sequence it later and you can see what's in the water. So it's going through this machine, and the water's passing through, but all the DNA is getting caught in this filter here. And so then it goes through the other tube on the other side, and it's hopefully coming out here. Stay tuned for that. It should come out here.
There we go.
They come out here.
But to understand how these ecosystems are changing over time, we need long-term monitoring. Introducing the mooring. These instruments sit on the seafloor, sometimes for years. They're not just measuring temperature and currents. This one had sediment traps to catch sinking particles, acoustic sensors for soundscapes, and other tools collecting data for a wide range of research questions. A mooring isn't just a single device. It's an entire system. Picture a long cable stretching from the seafloor almost to the surface of the ocean, packed with a bunch of sensors that track ocean conditions over time. This particular mooring was a whopping 1.6 kilometers in length. That's taller than the CN Tower stacked on itself twice. And we built the entire thing on the ship, piece by piece, before carefully deploying it into the deep. When it's time to deploy, everything goes over in reverse. The last thing to hit the water is the heavy anchor weight. That's what pulls the whole system down to the seafloor, letting it extend upward through the water column, standing tall like an invisible tower of science. Each section had to be perfectly assembled and balanced, because once it's in the water, it has to survive the extreme pressures, currents, and ice movement for years. It's kind of wild to think that, right now, this mooring is sitting silently on the seafloor, collecting data that will help us understand this remote and changing ocean.
Today we deployed the mooring, and it went really well. So I'm super happy. It was great to be a part of that team. To be able to get something so significant out into the water. 1.6 kilometers of gear on board the boat. You know, it's not an easy feat, but we did it. And a big shout out to Quentin and Louis, who basically, you know, that's their dream child. Really, you know, they came up with all the ways to handle the mooring, and I was just kind of the guy to help out wherever needed. So I miss home quite a bit with Sarah too. And when I get off the boat, my plan is to propose. So I'm really looking forward to doing that, and I'm just kind of anxious to get back home and do that. Although I'm having an amazing time, obviously, but yeah, that I can't help but have that on my mind, as one would, I think. And yeah, the icebergs are outside, and I think I'm gonna go look at them. So, peace.
With the last major deployment complete, all that was left to do was let the instruments do their work beneath the waves. But out here, it's impossible not to take a moment to look around and reflect. The Arctic has a way of reminding you how small you are, but also how much more there is to explore. That drive to explore is what keeps scientists coming back. Science isn't the only thing that keeps people coming back. When you spend weeks at sea, the people around you start to feel like family. No matter how hard work gets, people find time to rest, laugh, and make life at sea feel a little bit more like home.
Hey guys, so it's Sunday, and on the boat, that means it's Sunday dinner, which is a really good 3-course meal, especially when everybody's working really hard. It kind of adds a nice home type of feel to being on the boat. In addition to you know, finding time to do activities for ourselves, like whether it's playing music or playing hacky sack or you know, just hanging out and playing cards, things like that, because you do have to find time to do not just work while here on the boat. Anyways, for Sunday dinner, this is my outfit. You have to dress up a little bit. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Thanks. Hey guys, so it's the last day. We are transiting back to Iqaluit now, so we should arrive there in early morning tomorrow. This cruise has been pretty amazing. I've done a lot of filming, a lot of photography, and even a podcast, which was really cool. I was able to do the communication side and, you know, witnessing and communicating the science and showing people what all the cool stuff that people are doing on board, whereas usually I'm doing the science. So it was a bit of a different perspective for me, but it was really, really fascinating. One of the reasons I'm doing this sort of documentary is just to show that not everybody knows exactly where they're going to end up, and not everybody knows for sure that they're going to be, you know, a scientist exactly. And so you just kind of have to find your way and find your niche. And I feel like I'm still doing that now. And so I'm basically saying yes to all the different opportunities that come my way and letting my path kind of just guide me down. And I'm just riding the wave, really. I know it's a bit cliche to say, but really that is what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure out what I do enjoy about this type of work and what I don't. And I think being able to look at it through the eyes of a scientist as well as the eyes of a science communicator is really important. And so I'm learning every step of the way, and I'm really excited for my next journey. All this to say, if you think you might want to be a scientist or a marine biologist or oceanographer or biogeochemist or whatever it may be, you just got to go and try. You got to go and try it. See if you like it. Take some classes. Just don't be afraid to fail. Like, that's the main thing. It's like you can say yes to these opportunities with the expectation of maybe you might fail, but you also could do amazing, amazing things, and that's what really pays off. When you notice that something calls to you or that you're really good at something, you should just go for it. Just really go for it. And I think that's what I'm trying to do here. So I'm looking forward to the next part of my journey, and I hope you guys will stay tuned for that too. The Amundsen has been a wicked and amazing journey, and I'm pretty blessed to have been on board. Cheers.